Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Real Estate SEO. My name is Josh Guerra, and today we're going to be talking about what is a CDN, or better yet known as a content delivery network. What on earth is that? So a CDN is basically a, kind of like a front layer to your website. So essentially what it's going to do, it's going to take all of the heavy scripts that are on your website, heavy CSS, JavaScripts, heavy images, and then it's basically going to offload those from your server. So essentially, imagine you have a server that used to carry all the heavy scripts, all the heavy images in one central place, and then when somebody would go to your website, it would call all of those resources from your server, right? Well, now when you layer in the CDN, you have your server that only truly renders like the light stuff, and then you have what's called a CDN that takes all of the heavy lifting away from like the regular house server, right? So like all of the heavier scripts gets housed inside of the CDN and is rendered through cloud hosting infrastructure on a server that is closest to that web visitor. So, basically like what it's doing all the heavy lifting for your server, so that way the website loads significantly faster. And it's pretty incredible like what these CDNs can actually do as far as speed goes. Also, what's kind of cool about a CDN is that it will actually implement like a layer of security. A lot of these CDN networks out there are pretty smart, and they spend a ton of money on infrastructure and a ton of money on security. And what I've kind of noticed is that they monitor for like brute force attacks or like people that are just pinging your server to try to break in, right? They also monitor for like known hacker IP addresses in some cases. And what's kind of nice about that is that it provides like this extra layer of security for your website. So you get benefits for, optimal experience because it loads fast. And because it loads fast, you actually get kind of an SEO boost from that. And then you actually get like this extra layer of security. So for how little these things cost to implement, like especially if you have like a WordPress website, a WordPress real estate website, I think that it's very much worth investing in, just because of the experience that you're going to deliver. So now let's kind of talk a little bit about utilizing a canonical tag and really what to avoid as far as like the setup of this thing, like subdomains. So a canonical, if you don't know what that is, it basically tells search engines, what URL structure or what URL is like the parent, if you will. That's really like the best way to describe it. I actually created another video on this. If you go to the channel, you can kind of learn more in depth about what canonicalization is and how to leverage that inside the code to basically inform search engines, like what is like the actual parent page or the master page, right? And the whole premise behind canonicalization is to really avoid duplication on the web. And we all know that if you have duplicate content on the web, search engines like Google will ding you for that. So another way really just to kind of prevent that entirely is to avoid utilizing subdomains. So let me kind of give you an example. So let's pretend that like you have HTML on a specific page that is referencing an image that was originally on your main server, and then you had like a CDN that you're leveraging that actually uploaded everything to a subdomain that was the exact same image, but maybe like has a different naming convention, right? And then what happens is like you end up with the same image, but it's kind of some duplication. And same thing goes for like scripts, right? So what I would do is like try to find a CDN that doesn't really have like, it's not leveraging like a subdomain off of your primary domain name, And I think that will help eliminate some of the need to, number one, utilize canonicalization. And then number two, like any issues that could arise, assuming you don't really catch this, right? So that's something that I would consider utilizing. Also, what I would do just as like a, really like another layer of protection for you when it comes to SEO, I would go into, Google Search Console and basically specify the country and region that you're trying to target. Yeah, because CDNs, like, they're limitless, right? It's cloud hosting infrastructure. And what happens is, like, these things render across the entire planet. And you want to be able to specify, like, where your ideal traffic should come from, right? Like, if it's the US, specify it's in the US. This is a good thing to do anyways. And really, if you're going to utilize a CDN, 100% recommend going this route to register it with Google Console. And then really, I just wanted to finish this up with some recommended CDNs. Cloudflare, number one. I can't even pronounce this next one to the right. I don't use it, but really Cloudflare is probably like my go-to if I have like some sort of GoDaddy scenario that's like generic hosting and I want to implement a CDN or like another off-brand that I need to layer one in that doesn't come with a CDN automatically. And then hosting infrastructure that I actually recommend that come with CDNs would be WP Engine or Kinsta. So if you're looking for like WordPress hosting specifically, and you don't want to have like a secondary CDN layered on top of stuff and one more thing to manage, one more thing to, to purchase and manage from a billing perspective, just go straight to, WP Engine or Kinsta. I think these are wonderful options. And quite frankly, have some of the best performance that I've seen as far as hosting goes, for that matter. Well, anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. And really, until next time in the next episode of Real Estate SEO, y'all take care. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.